Expeditions podcast. Hey, what is happening out there, everyone? Welcome back to the Inner Expeditions podcast. My name is Aaron Harvey. I'm the host, and this is my show. Today, you are listening to Season 2, Episode 4. This one's a good one. It's on nutrition, and I have asked in the mind-body nutritionist, Danielle Coombes Pearce, to come in and talk about all things nutrition and that sort of holistic approach to nutrition. A little bit about Danielle. She has a Bachelor of Health Science degree in nutritional medicine, and through her practice, as I said, she consults on holistic nutrition, a balanced sort of diet with everything from grains and seeds and through to mixed veggies, all different colours of the rainbow in the diet, with obviously a balance of meats and stuff like that as well. So really good topics. What I do like with what Dan does is she matches all of that in with a combination of rest, mindfulness, recovery. As more of just looking at just foods, it's the whole balance of everything put in a bundle to look after yourself. So really cool episode. Can't wait for you to have a listen. So we're going to get into that shortly. But with a bit of a background into how Dan has helped me, I was struggling a little bit with nutrition when I was looking at upping my endurance game. And she helped a lot in the way that I was sort of stuck between weight loss and performance. And what I sort of realised through speaking to Dan, and she helped me, was that my calorie intake was nowhere near what it should have been to do these longer runs. So as soon as I started upping that and eating better, not only eating better, but getting the right amount of calories in, it sort of aided in my endurance and then ultimately in sort of losing that bit of weight, as your body needs that bit of a calorie deficit, I guess, to not only perform but to do what it needs to do. So really great conversation. We're going to start it up right now. Can't wait for you all to hear it. Let's have a listen. Okay, we're away.
Hey, Aslan.
Good to have you on. Thanks for coming on and giving me your time. It's awesome. I appreciate everyone's time that comes on. So it's great to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Definitely a first for me.
Yeah, appreciate you taking the time out to muck around with your laptop and get ready to do it as well. It's awesome.
Yeah, nothing like learning some new things on technology for me. I've just been doing the whole social media posting has been quite new for me as well, with setting up the business and built my own website. So it's like definitely learned a lot of new things the past 6 months or so.
I know exactly how you feel, because it's been the same, obviously, getting the podcast off the ground. And I'm not a huge social media person, so I've definitely learned a lot about that and getting things up and running. But I'm probably not pushing it as much as what I really could. But this is at this stage, this is a sort of part-time thing for me. Where I guess yours is is your full-time and your profession. So a lot more heart and soul will go into it, I bet.
Yeah, bit of free marketing on the socials goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. I mean, effectively, that's what all your socials are. It's advertising at the end of the day. So why wouldn't you sort of capitalize on that to get yourself out there?
Yeah, definitely.
And how's it all been received? I mean, I know for you, it's taken a lot to get this off the ground, and it feels like it's something that you've been passionate about for a while. How's it all been going with getting it off the ground, and how's it been received?
Yeah, it has. I've had a lot of good feedback, and especially with the social media side of things, like a lot of people that know me know that that's not something I'm super comfortable with. So I've been getting a lot of good feedback on the things I'm posting there. Also, with setting up a business last year in the midst of COVID starting, it's probably almost a bit of a blessing in disguise, because it kind of gave me the time to do it slowly and do it properly and take my time and not feel like I was under a deadline to get things going.
Yeah, and in that hurry, to get it up and running like ASAP to get started.
Yeah, and I think as well, I think I was a bit burnt out after studying my degree, and so I was studying and working and driving up to Perth from where I live, like a 3-hour drive, during the school term to go to lectures and stuff. So I was a bit burnt out after all of that. I needed a bit of time to kind of regroup and then ease my way into it.
Well, I guess because you live in Dunsborough, which is part of that Margaret River Yallingup region, pretty cool place to live. An area good for indulgence, but also a really great area to eat well with local produce and put your practice into effect, I suppose, learning, how to put into effect what you're learning, I guess, with the stress of what you've been doing and setting up and all of that commuting. It'd be nice to finally get it rolling. And I guess you could be effectively your first client.
Yeah, we're so blessed down here in the southwest. It's a lifestyle choice to live here, basically, because for a lot of people it is quite hard to make a living exclusively down here. Everything's not right at your doorstep like in the city, but like you say, the fact that we have access to such amazing fresh produce and so many people that are passionate about their health and actually prioritizing their health and lifestyle over the fast pace of the city. It's quite blessed to live here.
Well, because we lived down there for a few years, and when we did live down there, I was probably the exact opposite of what I am now, where I probably indulged more in the lifestyle of having a good beer and eating out a bit. When now I'm more on the healthy side of things, and I've moved away from that side of it. So, but we're lucky where we are up here now. There's some really, the lifestyle for health and lifestyle seems to be really growing, which is great.
Yeah.
So obviously you've only started doing this recently, or this has come to fruition in the last 12 months, but you didn't start that way. You sort of came from, well, we've known you a long time. You've been a very close friend of mine, and especially Renee since primary school. But I know that you were working in the mining background. You're driving machinery on mine sites.
Yeah.
How do you go from driving your dump trucks and your graders to thinking, I want to get out of this and become a nutritionist?
Yeah. Well, I guess for a lot of people in mining, you kind of are thinking of what you're going to do next. For me anyway, it was definitely just to, get on my feet financially, and also a bit of a lifestyle thing, because you get your 1 week on, 1 week off, and you can afford to do what you want and go on your holidays on your breaks as well. So I don't regret doing it, but obviously, was kind of thinking probably took me longer than a lot of people to know what I wanted to do with my life. I've went back and studied as a mature age student, but I think working in mining, you definitely see quite an unhealthy population, and you've got your two types of people up there. You've got your ones that are in their routine and they go to the gym after work and they're packing a healthy lunch each day at the crib hut, or you've got the ones that have their pies for lunch and big dinner and go to the bar each night and drink beer.
A couple of beers after their shift,
Yeah, and just the food on offer as well. Like in the end, especially after I started doing a lot of my own research on health and healthier ways of eating and living, my bag was probably weighing about 20 kilos in the food I was taking up each swing, just so I didn't have to rely on what was on offer.
I definitely found I was doing similar things when I was still working away towards the end there, for sure.
Yeah. And I think from what I hear, there are a lot of improvements in that now, in the mining camps, especially the bigger ones. I guess, like for you being in a lot of the smaller places and a bit more restricted as to what you can eat. But I think they've definitely probably still got a long way to go, especially because a lot of people up there are quite sedentary in their profession as well. So, if they're in machinery or in the offices up there, then you're not moving a lot of the day. You're doing 12-hour shifts, and if you're not putting the right things into your body, it's just going to snowball from there.
Yeah, it's very easy to feel that averageness when you're not moving a lot and you're just kind of going through the motions. Maybe not fueling yourself in the best way either. It's quite easy just to kind of plateau at a certain level and just feel, not not great or not
Yeah.
necessarily bad either, but you kind of just feel average the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's, definitely can be, sometimes you feel like it just grinds away at you too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Being up there.
especially
So
if the morale's a bit down on a certain swing, it kind of, it's a bit contagious, I think. When
yeah,
one person
absolutely.
starts whinging about something, then everyone jumps on the bandwagon. So it can be quite toxic in that way as well. But having said that, I had a great crew where I was working. I think I spent 5 years with the same crew at the same mine site, and had a
You
lot of
get to
good
know each other pretty
friendships,
well.
and we're all, I think it kind of just all ended up, like they changed our swing from 2 and 1, and the crews kind of got split up, and that's when a lot of people ended up leaving because they didn't have that support of who you'd kind of made your work family up there. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because you spend that so much time with those people, almost more with your workmates than what you do with the people at home. You get to know each other really well, and you support each other. Being away from home, they almost become your second family,
yeah.
for sure. Because I know, obviously, when you were doing that, did you find that the nutrition side for you became an end game, like this is how I can get out, or was it something that was kind of always there and it was just something that was just timed out perfectly for you to start thinking about that?
Um, no, it was definitely there. Probably prior to going up and working on the mines, like a bit of an interest. I think for me, growing up, I was a very, very fussy eater. You can ask my
Yeah.
parents. So like, I was that kid that, it was just a nightmare if we were going out anywhere for dinner and trying to find something that I'd actually eat. And then through my 20s, I traveled a lot, and just, I guess your palate kind of matures as you age as well, and just trying new things. You're out in different countries all over the world, and why not give it a go? And turns out I actually do enjoy most foods. So
Yeah.
that there's definitely that passion from food, and just seeing the way they eat in a lot of different cultures, like going to the market and people buy what they need for each day. They'll go each day and buy what they're having for
Yeah.
dinner, and it's all
Especially
fresh.
with,
And
well, yeah, you go to the markets and everything's kind of seasonal or whatever's in season. So your cooking
yeah,
is decided upon by what's in season. What fish they're catching, what fresh produce is available because of the seasons. So
yeah,
it matches really well.
yeah, and that is definitely a big one. Like, especially living in Australia, and we've got access to any food at any time of the year. And but what a lot of people don't realize is, to get that food when it's out of season, what the people are doing to it to make it so it is, like summer fruits are available in the middle of winter and things like that. Like they're putting ripening agents on the food. And if you're going to Coles and Woolies, like a lot of the food's sterilized as well. Like you get the bags of the lettuce leaves and
Yeah.
things like that, the pre-packed
Yeah.
salad leaves, and they're actually like, where's the nutritional value going to be if all these chemicals and things are done to the food just so you can eat it when you want it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and to make it last longer so it can travel from further away.
Yeah,
Because we did touch in that, we sort of briefly touched on that in the first episode of this season with Jess, talking about how, things are,
yeah,
they come from other places so we can eat them all year round.
yeah,
When really it should be going off more the seasons. But I think as we spread out, where we live in such a remote part of Western Australia.
yeah,
There's no fresh produce here other than seafood,
yeah,
and most of that gets shipped away for other markets. But yeah, how do you sort of find that balance? I mean, we spoke before the show, and you were saying the best way is just try as much as you can to eat real whole foods.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Like I heard a good thing the other day, that it was, you need to kind of ask yourself when you're eating something, where's the light in this food? So basically, if something's made in a laboratory and highly processed, then it's not seeing the light of day. If something's grown outside in the light, it's you're getting all the different phytonutrients that come from the sunlight, and also even for your animal products and things like that as well. Like if you're buying from organic farms, then they're out in the paddock, they're getting the sunshine, they're getting what they need, and it's so important just to eat real food, basically. Just eat real food.
Yeah, because it's passed through.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because effectively the goodness you're getting out of whatever you're eating, whether it's plants or animals, it's come from the ground. So they're fertilizing food to get it to grow, but the nutrition that the plant's getting is what's getting passed on to us when we eat it, right? So that also would go back to improving soil conditions and all those sorts of things for farmers as well.
Yeah,
so
that's definitely a big one. And I guess that's why agriculture, because there's like the large scale monocultures now where they want a big crop of just canola or a big crop of just soy, or so they're having to use pesticides and things like that just so the crops can survive, and then we're eating it. Or if we're not eating it, the animals are eating it, and it's going through them and then to us. So
and then there's the huge talk about glyphosate and how harmful that is, and that's getting used extensively through the industry to get I never realized this, but it was being used to kill crops. So instead of waiting for crop to do its cycle and then harvest it, you could kill it early and get maybe 1 or 2 or 3 crops out of a season rather than just the one. So that they're using it to up productivity.
Yeah, and the Roundup ready crops as well. So if they're not actually spraying it on the crop, then they've genetically modified the crop, like the seed with the product. So it's in there somewhere with those kind of and it's just, I think that's why we're seeing so many food intolerances now as well. Like it's not just one specific food. Like there's foods we've been eating, for thousands of years that all of a sudden people can't tolerate, and it's not the food, it's what we've done to it. How is this old food that our ancestors ate creating a modern disease as well, like all these lifestyle diseases? Like it's not like it's even as well like the food groups, like it used to be fat, stay away from fat, now it's sugar, stay away from sugar, and it's like it's more the quality of
how processed it is.
We're staying definitely stay away from the processed versions, but we've ate sugar for years in the form of fruits, and even like Rapadura sugars, like an old style sugar that's been used for years and years, and just not talking about the white processed stuff, and even fat as well. Like they've demonized, obviously you don't want to eat a lot of saturated fat, but it's what you're eating. I was reading something the other day about there's tribes living in like an island off Papua New Guinea. I can't remember the name of the tribe, but they've been studied, this tribe, since the 1920s, and their eating patterns have kind of stayed the same through that whole time. They still eat similar foods and grow similar foods, and their diet is predominantly like coconut oil and coconut products, which coconut oil used to be this superfood, but then no, hang on, it's a saturated fat, don't eat it. And they're also eating they're in a tropical area, so they're eating all the tropical fresh fruits that are high in sugar, and they don't have any of the modern diseases that we have here because they're eating from the land. Right? It's not the food, it's what we've done to it.
Well, yeah, and the same thing is said for like the blue zones around the world. So you've got all these blue zones in areas like Italy, and I think there's places off Japan and the islands where everything that they eat pretty much comes from where their surroundings. So
Yeah.
even though they make cheeses, and I think in Japan they fish locally. So
Yeah.
everything is from that area, and it's seasonal, and
Yeah.
that sort of seems to go hand in hand with their lifestyle
Yeah.
and their health, and obviously less stressful.
Yeah.
Hence, they're living happier, healthier, longer lives.
Yeah. And I think with the blue zones as well, it's not just what they're eating, it's their community outlook as well. Like they're all, they're cooking and preparing foods together, they're eating meals together. They're like, it's the whole process of, and even the eating. I think is that one of the blue zones in Okinawa, I think in Japan, and one of their philosophies is eat to be 80% full, rather than, people are like, oh my god, I'm so hungry, and you're
Cramming
not slowing down and chewing and enjoying your food, so all of a sudden you've inhaled this, and we're all guilty of it at some stage, but
in.
you've inhaled all this food, and then you're like, oh my god, I'm so full, like why did I
What did
do
I do
that?
that for?
So yeah, it's just learning to slow down, where everyone's in such a rush these days. That's a
Well,
big
it's
one
just
for
slow
me,
down in general.
actually. I'm definitely a
Yeah.
fast eater. I need to constantly remind myself, maybe even take a halfway break between a meal and just sit and
Have a
wait and see if
halftime,
I'm
have a
full
drink,
yet.
and
Yeah.
make conversation. It's definitely something I have improved on with that side of it. You go out, and if you, your social situation, and you're catching up with friends, stop and have a break and join in the conversation. And I even sometimes will put my meal aside. We went out last night, and I sort of had a salad, and occasionally I just put it down or put it to the side and have a little drink of water and keep chatting, join in the conversation, and you can kind of take it back up and just let it sort of digest a bit,
Yeah.
take a bit longer for it to digest and break down. It gives your body a chance, I guess, to digest it a bit easier without it just getting all piled on top of each other.
Yeah. And then it's your mental state as well. Like if you're enjoying a meal with like good friends or your family, then
Yeah,
like you're not eating
you're
in a
relaxing.
stressed state, like when
Yeah,
people are eating on the rush. And so basically when you're stressed, your cortisol, your stress hormones rising, and
yeah,
that fight or flight mode, that's when like those unnecessary processes in your body kind of shut down, because your body thinks it's
yeah,
got to run from the lion or something.
yeah.
And
So it
so
shuts your
yeah,
digestive
like
down. Yeah,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, so then you're not processing your food properly, because yeah, you're in this stressed state, and digestion is one of the last on the list of things needed to run from a lion. So
that's right. Yeah, yeah. So it'll shut it down.
yeah.
Well, it kind of leads into what I was going to bring up next, which I really liked about a post you did the other day. I think it was on your Instagram site, about your sort of 360-degree look at health, making sure that you're taking time to rest,
Yeah.
and giving yourself your body that chance to just take a break and try and be less stressed, and how eating right and your angle of everything is just making sure that you're looking after yourself
Yeah.
as a whole package, not just eating right, but making sure you're eating properly. Yeah, taking those breaks while you're eating, but also giving yourself time to just fully relax and just to let some things go. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely that 360-degree view of health. You can't, like, if you're wanting to feel better, you can't just change one thing. You can't just change your diet. You need to, move your body every day. You need to find some time every day to kind of, yeah, just stop and pause, find that stillness, whether it's, whatever works for you kind of thing. Like, not everyone can sit down and meditate, but even just get outside and, get bare feet on the earth and take a few deep breaths. And yeah.
Recenter yourself a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it seems to be something. Like surfers, they get to go out, and a lot of it seems to generally be around getting outside and being amongst the outdoors. Like you say, surfers can get in amongst the waves.
Yeah.
I love running. I love trail running. So for me,
Yeah.
it's hitting the trails. And
Yeah.
feeling the ground under my feet.
Yeah. And you
Uh,
would get into kind of the zone while you're running as well, that kind of meditative
exactly.
state.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's just thinking. Yeah, just having your thoughts just on one thing.
Yeah.
Not letting anything else sort of creep in. Just giving yourself that time. I guess
Yeah.
it's a pretty powerful thing. I mean, a lot of people think they can't fit it into their day, but if you really want to do it and your health should be the number one priority, then how could you not make it, a priority? Put the other things aside that you might think are important.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably the number one thing I hear when obviously people come to me and they just want, the kind of dietary advice or maybe a couple of supplements and things like that. But when we get to the kind of lifestyle suggestions I give, and, well, not even 9 times out of 10, I'm sure 10 out of 10 times I'll tell people, that need to lower their stress levels or improve their sleep or things like that. And, when they're even exercising and moving the body, and one of the number one things they say is, I just don't have the time.
Yeah, everyone just wants that quick fix. Oh, give me that pill to help me out, or give me that quick fix so I can solve it.
And the thing is that that's probably causing more of their problems, the stress they're under and the sedentary lifestyle they're leading, than actually the food they're eating.
It's almost like a cycle.
Yeah, it definitely goes hand in hand.
But yeah, when you flip it around, it seems incredibly hard to get started when you look at the wall, when you think you're at the start of your journey to maybe change your lifestyle and do these things. You look at the whole challenge as one big wall.
Yeah.
When if that's really not the way to look at it, it's more small step at a time.
Yeah.
Don't think about tackling the wall on your first day. It's a journey, and that wall is always going to be further back, because as you progress, you're gonna set new tasks and new challenges. So
just start small. Start with one thing. I think it was you that said just start. When you started,
right.
you've made so many changes in the last few years, and you don't start with the whole lot at once. That's not sustainable. That's why even when people come to see me, like a lot of people are expecting to get a whole, weekly meal plan laid out of all the right foods to eat. And I'm like, well, I work more with substituting things, one by one, bit by bit, that aren't working for people, rather than going for the complete overhaul straight up, because people aren't going to stick to that, and it would just be too stressful and overwhelming. And food shouldn't be difficult. It should be enjoyable. Food's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's great. I mean, I love it. And I've noticed that as your diet changes, you get used to it. So, the high fat foods that you are used to with your diet can kind of, I think I remember someone saying, I follow a guy on social media called Zach Bush. He's a physician. Yeah, he's great. Really passionate guy. Check him out.
Yeah.
Like, he's so inspiring. And I mean, I know people out there, if they haven't heard of him, to get on your socials and check out Zach Bush. And he says the importance of your gut health and what you're eating, and what can happen is the microbiome in your stomach can drive your cravings, where when you're used to a certain thing, it's because they're driving it. Yet if you change that, it might take a little bit of time and a bit of effort. But once you get onto your new, I wouldn't call it a diet, but your new lifestyle and how your new sort of eating plan is, you'll eventually get used to that. And if you took that away, you would start craving it.
Yeah, different foods will feed different bugs in your gut. And you definitely, if you've been eating a certain way for a long time, there's going to be that imbalance that kind of favors the weight gain and things like that, because of that's what your microbiome knows. And
there's a lot of great things out there with gut health these days, and I know a lot of people are doing more good things for their gut, and it's incredible how it's improving their, not only for weight loss or just for healthier lifestyle, but their state of mind, and just overhauling how they're feeling. Altogether, it's such a big one to drive for, I guess, with eating well, eating your greens, and your meats in moderation, I guess.
Yeah, definitely go for the full, more plant-based. Like, I think definitely people eat a lot more animal products than what would have been done in the past. And I don't say cut it out altogether. Like, I still eat meat, but I'm more conscious of where I get the meat from. And if I'm having dairy, like, I love a good cheese platter, but it's quality over quantity. It's and especially that's another good thing, that so lucky down here in the southwest. There's some great cheeses and great organic
there's a real push
farmers
for
as well. And a lot of places are moving towards that way, and it's just figuring out, researching in your area where you can source these foods from.
just a bit of effort going into
and it does take, especially in the beginning, it does take a bit more preparation than you used to, but it's going to be worth it if you're feeling better and nourishing your body with real foods.
Well, yeah, you get away from the convenience of everything's just right there to grab when you're like super hungry and you just want something to eat right there and then, where I find you can eat well if you just put a little bit more work in, a bit more research, if you want to know where your food's coming from.
Yeah.
And just doing a bit of preparation, so you can do a bit of prep in the kitchen and then store it all in your fridge ready to go, so it's there when you want to grab it, and instead of going for like a pack of chips or a chocolate bar or something like that.
Get all your little kind of snack stuff ready, when you're cooking dinner one night and you've got a bit of extra time, rather than just making a quick dinner, just while it's cooking, stay in the kitchen and prep some snacks for the week, and just so it's there ready to go.
It definitely makes it a lot easier. I've been doing it this week. I'm sort of Renee and the kids are still down south for probably another 2 weeks. So it's just me at home, and all I've been doing is when I am in the kitchen, I just get out and just chop up all my veggies and my fruit how I like it. So if I want to make a smoothie, it's all just in a nice container, ready to go, and I can make a smoothie, or I'll make a smoothie that will last me 3 or 4 days.
Yeah,
and just put them in jars in the fridge, ready to go, and prep all my veggies chopped up. So I've got an option to make a stir fry or do some Mexican or something like that. It's just so much easier.
Such a good cook. And I guess that's that was a bonus for you as well, when we're trying to learn how to cook all these new foods. Like you love being in the kitchen and you love to cook, so probably wasn't a chore for you. Whereas for some people it could be quite overwhelming.
Definitely. But start simple. I do love cooking, and now I've gone to a plant-based diet. It's like I've had to sort of not reinvent, but it's definitely been a lot of fun working out other ways to do things. I've always been, a big fan of cooking curries. It's probably made me spread out with different types of curries from other parts of the world. Like where before it was mainly like Indian or something like that. Now I'm sort of getting into more Indonesian and Malaysian curries and expanding the palette. So, and there's just so much color. When you're preparing
coming
your meal
up
and
for
chopping
dinner.
up, there's so much color.
I know you said no visitors this year, but I'm coming up for dinner.
I think it's going to be unavoidable.
Yeah.
I think, it seems like this year's going to be fairly similar to last year as far as travel restrictions go. So we're expecting some tribes to head north over the winter for sure.
Yeah.
I better make sure I get prepared for the masses and get some more in preparation for some more curries, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But I've been eating a lot of salads. This year I've made a promise that I really want to focus on, like you say, the whole foods, real foods, getting away from the super processed stuff, and really finishing my goals of getting rid of those extra couple of kilos and leaning right up. So everything in my fridge at the moment is just all either just vegetables or fruit, and then obviously my rice and sort of grains and stuff like that, which is something we did sort of speak about pre-show with your grains and stuff. I know, like with your paleo diets, they say to sort of stay away from your grains, but you kind of touched on it earlier where grains and that are all okay. It's just like I say, how you prepare them. So you have to prepare them for your body to digest.
Yeah, well, back in the day, our ancestors did it goes back to the whole time poor, rushed busyness of like this day and age, and everyone wanting that convenience of things being ready, right now. But back in the day, grains and legumes and things like that, they were prepared, they were soaked, they were, because there's phytic acid and other anti-nutrients and sometimes toxins, on the outer layer of these things. And if if you're soaking them and preparing them properly, then you're going to be able to properly digest them and fully utilize the nutrients that they contain. And that's why a lot of people, they might not be able to tolerate grains and legumes and things like that all that well, but it's like that they might find a little bit of ease if they're preparing them properly, making them easy to digest. I mean, that there's a lot of other things that may go into, especially things like legumes, and there's like FODMAPs and IBS, and people can become quite intolerant to a lot of foods, and that's obviously something that's built up over a lot of years. A lot of people have fructose malabsorption now, so everyone's like, don't eat fructose. Obviously, you wouldn't eat fructose by itself because it comes packaged in a fruit or, a particular food that contains it with, fiber and other nutrients.
Sure.
But because of, a whole range of factors like what's in our food and eating foods that aren't necessarily real foods, everyone's become fructose intolerant now as well. So, some people will come in and they're so intolerant or allergic to foods, and they're eating 4 or 5 different foods because that's the only thing that they can eat, and it's like that's not how it should be. It's not how it was in the past, and we've created this, and it can be healed. There may be certain foods, especially with allergies or certain conditions, that you may need to avoid ongoing, but for the most part you should be able to reintroduce these foods after, and that's why it's quite important as well to go and see someone who can guide you through that. Like, it can be so overwhelming and confusing for people that are just, a lot of the time we're kind of the last point of call. Like, people have been unhealthy for so long and been to doctors and, not finding any answers or, any relief from their problems, and just getting worse and worse. And a lot of the time it's long-standing health issues that you see. So it's not an overnight quick fix, but it can happen.
Yeah, and also with that, sometimes, like you said, a lifestyle change, it's sometimes it's not what people want to hear, right? So they
sometimes
want that
people
quick
aren't
fix.
ready.
How does that go down?
It's I guess to a certain extent people are ready if they're seeking help, but
And they've been through all of that other stuff without any success.
There's the different states of change, and that it's like
You've got
putting
to be
it
ready
into
for
action. You've got to be ready for the action mode. But the fact that people are contemplating it means they're almost there.
They're getting ready. Yeah, they've recognised it and they're getting ready. But they've got to just walk through the steps or get that guidance to know that it's going to be effective, I guess, coming out the other side.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, we talked about the paleo, soaking your grains. So, potentially, obviously, you're going to seek advice. If people are still having dramas, maybe looking at that as an option, but seeking advice before they go down that path.
Yeah.
Cool. Modern foods. This is a good one. I've found that for me, especially going plant-based, I recently went south to Albany and Bustleton, and probably areas where you have your bigger food stores, bigger shopping centres and options for groceries and stuff. And what I did notice is that there is now just such a wide range of plant-based products that are heavily processed.
Yes.
They're not made from whole foods,
What
which
is
is
it?
a bit worrying.
Beyond Burger or something, and I saw a post the other day. It had a picture of Beyond Burger and it just said chemical shitstorm. I don't know if I can say that on here, but basically it's true. Yeah, that's like, if you can't pronounce it, if you don't know what it is when you're reading the labels, just maybe best to avoid it. Like, if you want to have a plant-based burger, go for your chickpea or lentil patties, or you can even, there's all sorts of things people are making plant-based burger patties, sesame or
or even you can Google and, check out a recipe to make your own. I've got a great black bean
Yeah.
and quinoa burger that I make,
Yeah.
and everything that you're putting into it. You're making it yourself,
Yeah.
and they're pretty good. I mean, I don't think for me, obviously, it was going plant based was driven by health. So what goes into the food plays a big part in what I eat. Where other people might be plant based because of the animal factor, the cruelty free factor, where it's probably not driven so much by health. As long as it's not meat, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Where it's still, health wise, it's still quite bad for you, even though it doesn't contain any animal products. Like some of the stuff are made from in labs and stuff, like you say, other things made in labs.
And there is also, like, especially these big companies that are making plant-based things, like, how is their products farmed, even if it does have some real foods in it? Like, big scale agriculture is still going to be harming us and the animals that surround it, or it's and it might not be as environmentally sustainable if you're buying these products from these companies. So it's definitely being more mindful of where your food's coming from. I definitely understand not wanting to eat animal products for moral reasons, but it's like
and a planetary thing, for sure.
Just research where it's coming from, these other foods that you're eating, because not all these companies are all that ethical.
Yeah, it could potentially have that knock-on effect that you're not aware of.
Yeah,
sure. Let's I think we've done pretty well here to cover everything that I had to speak to you about. I'm not sure if you've got anything else you want to add on. If we can start wrapping it up, just some free takeaways from this episode, just if people are thinking about making those changes, like easy swaps. What advice would you have for someone that's listening that's sort of thinking about sort of making those changes?
Well, basically, like you say, just start small. Don't start big. Just start small. Start researching your local area for where you can source these fresh whole foods, and add as much color and diversity, like eat the rainbow, add as much color and diversity in as you can, because that's where all your range of nutrients are going to come from. And with eating in seasons, so you're naturally eating the nutrients you need for that time of the year, avoiding foods that have got man-made ingredients and artificial flavors, preservatives. Get back in the kitchen. People aren't cooking their own food. If you don't know how to cook, then maybe it's time to learn. There's no time like the present.
Get sit around the kitchen and all play a part. I used to work with a guy who they had pasta nights, and he had I think he had 5 kids, and they ranged from quite young still, like under 10, and then a couple of them were a bit older and they moved out. But every week they would still come in for one family dinner night, and they might make pasta or pizza, and when they would make dinner, everyone had to knead the pasta. So you tear off a piece each, and the kids would get in there and bash it and knead it however they wanted to, and the older kids. But everyone's hands, probably not the best COVID safe thing, but everyone's hands, and everyone had contributed to making dinner. And while they prepared dinner, they spoke, and they were a family.
Yeah, and as they're learning these things as children,
Yeah.
As for substitution as well, it's more looking at the quality of the food. I heard something the other day. I think it was they were talking about James and Laurentine from Food Matters, and he called himself a qualitarian. Like, it's not he doesn't eat a certain way, but he's passionate about the quality of his food. And basically, if you're eating bread, don't buy it from the supermarket. Go to a local artisan bakery that does a 24-hour slow fermented sourdough. And things like, if you want to eat chocolate, go for the dark chocolate and just have 1 or 2 squares, or learn how to make your own. I've got so many good, because I've got such a sweet tooth. So when I started making all these changes. I've become very good at making things like cacao and avocado mousse, and just your own homemade chocolate, and that with cacao and coconut oil, and like you can put whatever you like in it, like nuts and seeds and things like that. There's a good book I actually read years and years ago, but I think it still rings true for people, that by the time I'd read it, I'd already kind of made a lot of the changes myself. But I think it's a good book to read if you're just kind of starting out, learning about healthy lifestyle habits and healthy eating habits. There's Changing Habits, Changing Lives by Cindy O'Meara. She's a amazing nutritionist. I think she's been doing it for I'm not sure. I think first she was an anthropologist, so she learnt about the ancestral way of eating, and that's how then studied nutrition as well. So I think it spans 30, 40 years, her knowledge. But it's a very easy to read, step by step, and she's very big on substituting and informing people of things that are in packaged foods and what you can eat instead of that. And it's broken down and very easy to read, and not a huge book, and something I would definitely recommend.
There was another book that you told me about. We were speaking a few months ago, and I think it was a Japanese book, or
Ikigai.
Ikigai.
So that definitely builds on kind of the Blue Zone philosophy as well. But that's basically like it's a Japanese concept, and it's combining what you do like as your profession, and what you're passionate about, and what you love, and just finding a way to combine all those things. And it goes through, and it has chapters on the way you eat, your community. That was one of the biggest things. And the other thing was, like, there's no word for retirement in Japan. Like, because they keep busy, even if maybe they're not working in their office job anymore. But for the most part, in the smaller communities, where they're out, in their gardens or doing the work they're doing, they're still moving their body every day, and they're still finding a purpose in their day.
Purpose. I think purpose is such a big one. To keep going later on. So many people retire and then have all this time on their hands, and life effectively stops for them because everything they've done that's kept them going has stopped. So
and it's like you need to find something, you put the game plan in action, find something you're passionate about if you're stopping working, and just keep busy. But obviously, find the time to rest, but find something to do every day, whether it's tending to your garden or helping out a friend or neighbor. Like, they're very community based, and
I like you said they talk about in the book about how everything's woven in together with what you enjoy, and it's part of your everyday life, where it's not that the grind of getting through every day and living for the weekend. You're almost wishing your life away, where it's more appreciating every day because it's woven into your lifestyle, and your passion is in there as well. So it's kind of breaking away from doing something like you feel like you're forced to be doing. It's just following your passions a bit more.
And another big interesting thing I found, which is quite common, especially in smaller towns, and like you see a lot of it here in Dunsborough, and I'm sure it's probably the same up in Exmouth, but people don't just have one source of income. They have a couple of things on the go, or a side hustle, or a passion project, or something like that.
Sure.
But like for me, I'm doing disability support work part-time, so I don't have to rely on starting up a business, and if I don't have money coming in from that each week, then there's the stress of if I get sick and
Where's
I
it
can't
going
do
to come from?
it's like Yeah. So and you're kind of having that balance of something a little like, they are aligned, but something a bit different and something that kind of ignites a different part of you.
Yeah, it feeds the soul a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you are doing a job that, if you are doing a job that's you're kind of just doing it for the sake of bringing in an income,
Yeah.
if you can get that side hustle, it is something that you're interested in, like a
Yeah.
hobby that might turn into something else, like that fuels that sort of that fire inside you, I guess.
Yeah.
And if you can make some money out of it, it's like an added bonus. But yeah, like you say, having that sort of bit of something on the side that you're passionate about, that sort of feeds that fire inside. And yeah, it's a good business plan as well, not to have all your eggs in one basket, like you say, and that
Yeah.
stress of, oh, what if I lose this one job that's all I do and it's all I know, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Always good to have a
That's
backup plan.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's wise words. I think it's really good. And your, yeah, like you say, your almost mantra of everything with what you do is the fact that it's not just what you're eating,
Mm.
it's resting and recovering, it's appreciating things, it's just taking that time out to give yourself a break mentally, physically, as well as fueling yourself. So
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
We've just nailed it.
Covered a lot.
Yeah, it's been so good, and I'm definitely with the having covering so much in this episode. Definitely going to be getting you back on later on if you're happy to do that.
Yeah.
To maybe go in depth into other branches, like we might be able to specialize on one certain thing, or look deeper into subjects that we maybe have or haven't covered today. So that'd
Yeah.
be really good to get you later on for sure.
Yeah, sure thing. I'll probably
Sweet.
be a little bit more prepared, mentally prepared for it next time. A bit less out of my comfort zone, maybe.
But that's where the growth is as well,
Yeah.
like it's so good. So many people that come on are like first time on a podcast or with a microphone in front, but by the end of it, they're just so relaxed and didn't really know what all the fuss was about. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely appreciative of everyone giving me their time. That's for sure.
Yeah, thank
Well, it
you.
sounds like we'll probably get you up in person next time. If you come up, we'll have to get you up in.
Let's do it. I'll exchange it for a bed.
Yeah, I'm sure we could. We should be able to come up with something.
Yeah.
Maybe share some videos and stuff about food prep and all that kind of stuff. That'd be really great.
Yeah, awesome.
Sweet. Well, if anyone out there wants to check you out, I know you're on the socials. You're on Facebook and Instagram. Anything else? Any other social pages that you're on?
No, just that's enough for now. Yeah, baby steps. I think I'll just keep it as that. That's already taking up enough of my time learning how to, utilize that best. So
It can be quite time consuming putting that stuff into the social media accounts. It definitely can be,
yeah,
very busy.
I set myself a challenge for January just to get a bit more comfortable and like quicker with it, to do
Yeah.
one post a day for January.
Yeah.
I was like, even if it's just, something super simple, just get it out there and
It keeps the
keep
Instagram
keep at
algorithms
it.
happy.
I don't think I'll keep to one a day after that though, maybe a couple a week, but it's a bit too time consuming. But
No, that's good. And if people want to find you on there, you are Mind Body Nutrition.
so on Facebook, it's Danielle Mind Body Nutrition, and Instagram, it's the Mind Body Nutritionist.
Cool. That's good. I've got you on there because I'm only on Instagram. Everyone keeps hassling me to get out with the podcast on Facebook. So I'll see if we want to get things growing. I might have to take the dive. But yeah. And then also www.mindbody-nutrition.com.au is your website as well if anyone wants to check you out further on there.
Yeah. Go have a look.
Cool. And then on there, obviously more information if people want to get in touch with you for advice, and you post and share sort of blogs about daily healthy stuff as well, I guess.
Yeah, that will be coming in the future. But basically, it's got my services and what I do, what I'm about. So go have a look.
Yeah, I advise everyone to check it out. It's great. And I love the way that you capture everything and it's holistic, and it takes you back to those ancient sort of days of, waking up with the sun, going to bed with the sun,
Yeah.
give or take, and just keeping that sort of natural inner sort of primal system that we have inside, that we always have had inside, to keep ourselves not only healthy but mentally, happier as well. So that's really cool.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on again, Dan. It's been great having you on. It's been a long time coming, but it's definitely someone I want to speak to share your advice and opinions with stuff that I feel is really great to put out there for people. If people are thinking of making those changes and swaps, to get some info to maybe get the ball rolling on that. So thanks again for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Cool. No worries. All right, guys, we're going to wrap that one up, but stick around for some post podcast thoughts from me and we will wrap it up. But otherwise, I'll speak to you soon. All right, another great episode. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. A couple of big things that I really got out of that episode was the balanced diet, as not only balancing your diet, but managing your time and your headspace and giving yourself a break, and the movement is moving to enjoy that healthy combination of all of those aspects. Another good one that I sort of thought about was just knowing where your food comes from. And I really like that sort of thought about what kind of light is it getting and how much natural light is it getting, and that light in your food that creates a more organic product, I guess, and meaning that it could be ultimately better for you. Big thing with eating whole foods and eating healthy food is that joy in the kitchen of making everything yourself, knowing where your food is coming from and knowing every single ingredient that is going into your cooking. It's kind of like reinventing cooking again. For me, I found it was a big thing for me going plant-based. I kind of fell in love with cooking all over again and working out these little ways of how to just make things still healthy but also tasting really great as well. And I've had a lot of fun in the kitchen with just all the colour and just how good a meal looks. The more colour that's in there, the more satisfying it is and the happier you are with it, and it sort of really tends to come through and in that enjoyment when you're eating it as well. So really great. I hope you guys enjoyed and got some takeaways from that one. Don't forget, if you have any thoughts, to reach out, maybe to get in touch with Danielle on her social accounts or even by emailing her through her website. So get on that one. It should be really great. Good news for the show is we finally made it onto Amazon and Audible. Both of those are available through links. I've just started up a new link with Linktree, which has got every possible platform for listening, as well as all my social media accounts. So to find that one, just get onto Linktree /Inner Expeditions. So it's linktr.ee/Inner Expeditions. From there, it'll give you links to all of my sites and access to all of the variable podcast platforms, as well as all my social media accounts. So check that one out. It should be really great. I'm currently working with Amazon, getting Amazon across all platforms for different countries, but the best way at the moment is to go to amazon.com and then just Google the show, and it'll take you through to the Amazon playlist as well as Audible. And don't forget, on any of the platforms, if you're liking the show and you want to get updates, to hit subscribe or to follow the show, and that will automatically add it to your listening browser or any of your saved library options. And some of the sites will even give you updates on new episodes as they come out. Other than that, I've really enjoyed your time again. I hope you guys have enjoyed tuning in. Don't forget to eat more plants, balance that diet out, rest up, enjoy yourself, take a break. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.